You're listening to From Startup to Six Figures, the show that teaches you how to turn your idea or side gig into a serious income. Now, it's time to build the business that will change your life with your host, Samuel Stokes.
Hi everyone, welcome back to From Startup to Six Figures, the show where we show you how to build a business from scratch and use it to replace your 9 to 5. So last week we took a look at who we are and what we do, and this week we're going to look at two different important topics. One, we're going to touch briefly on the show format so that you know what to expect each episode, and then we're going to do a deep dive into looking at who our businesses serve and why that's important. So, taking a look at our show format, each week what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive into one particular topic. This will make it nice and easy to search through the show notes and find exactly the episode that spoke about a specific topic and use that to then build and grow that area of your business. And we're going to go over that one principle or one topic in great detail, okay? We're not going to spend hours on it, but it is going to be a deeper dive, so not just a surface level explanation. One of the problems I find with a lot of different business coaching solutions or podcasts on business or other things is they talk a lot about the theory and it never goes very deep into the topic. It says you should do this, you should engage your customers, or you should meet a need, or you should any one of the thousands of sayings that you hear about business all the time, but doesn't go into enough detail on that particular topic to take you from where you are today to where you need to be. So we're going to do a deeper dive on each topic each week. And then we're going to go through a worked example. So we're going to take you through our example business, the one that we're building and growing on this channel, on this show in front of you, and show you how it applies to that business and how you can apply it to your business, okay, as an extension of that. So this isn't just going to show you what to do, it's going to show you what to do next in order to grow your business. Okay, so that's going to be the show format. That may build and evolve over time as we learn more about what you need, and the show's format might change a little in length and other things, but at the moment we're going to focus on a shorter show each week that goes into a detailed dive on a single topic. Of course, we'll have questions and answers and other important things over time, but for now, let's get into it. So today's deep dive is looking at who do you serve and why that's important. Okay, so obviously a business, by definition, it exists to meet a need in the community. Okay, if you don't meet a need, you don't have a business. No one's going to shop with you if you're not answering one of their needs or wants. Okay, so naturally, in our accounting practice, we're answering a need. Everyone has to lodge tax returns and prepare financial statements. In our book business, we're meeting a need people have to be entertained and distracted from society. If you're a dog trainer, you're meeting a need of people to have a well-behaved pet so that they don't get in trouble with their neighbours or can perform in a dog show or any one of hundreds of other needs or goals people might have. Okay, so it's important to understand who we serve so that we can develop our products to serve them better, and we can refine our marketing so that we can reach our ideal customers. We'll go over in great detail in future episodes why that's important, but understanding who we serve helps us to serve them much better and reach them more effectively and more cheaply with our advertising, which means our marketing budget reaches much further. So you might think you know who you serve, and in some businesses that might be true. If you're looking after every customer yourself, one by one as they come in, you would have a pretty good indication of who your client base is. But how much do you really know about them? I like to ask a whole range of questions to really get a feel for who it is we're serving. Questions you might ask yourself is, who are your customers? How do they think? Where do they gather? What other common denominators are there? What gender are they? What age are they? What's their socio-economic status? Are they middle class? Are they from the top 1%? Are they people that might be struggling along day to day? because based on that, you'll have a vastly different approach to business. Okay, you wouldn't market to the 1% the same way you would market to people who are struggling to go from paycheck to paycheck. And those two groups would have vastly different needs as well. You might ask yourself what problems your customers have, or what questions they might have, or what roadblocks they face in their life. Obviously, the problems in each different business answers are going to be massively different. Our accounting practice meets a pressing need. If people don't do their tax, the government fines them and prosecutes them. So that's a very different need to, for example, the author business that we look at a lot in this show, which meets a people's need to be distracted and entertained and to relax and get away from the stress of their life. So they're very different needs that are being answered. You might ask yourself, what result do people want? Because understanding the result they want will help you know what products you need to put together in order to best serve them. Okay, doing what you think they need might be very different to what your customers actually need or want. So it's important that we answer as many of these questions as we can, and there's probably 10 or so more you could ask. But the idea is that we gather a very specific idea or avatar of what our ideal client might be, or what most of our clients, or a group or demographic that most of our clients might fit into. Now that we know what questions we could or should be asking, we're going to take a look at real examples for how we find answers to these questions, right? Because naturally, we want to gather as much information as we can so that we make informed decisions. So the first way we can find answers to these questions, right, and there's going to be 7 of these options, so you can make notes or you can dive down into the show notes and grab the list from below. The first option is to interact with them, okay? As we're talking and speaking to our customers, we'll learn more about them. Ask questions, get to know what's bothering them or what's on their mind, okay? We can do it at a more mass market scale by emailing our existing client list. We can ask them what they're struggling with. We can ask them what they enjoy or don't enjoy about our products. We can ask them what they'd like to see next. Lots of different options there, right? We can look on social media. We can check out people's comments or posts or reviews or feedback in our social media platforms. We can look at what comments are occurring and interactions are on our posts. The second option is we can go a little bit further abroad beyond our own customers. Okay, we can go out into the wider internet or gathering places, and we can look for forums where people gather and talk about the topic that we serve. For example, we might go to reader groups to find what particular readers are interested in, what tropes or genres are really popular with them. In another business, you might go to a review site and look for popular complaints about your industry. One of the reasons Uber was so successful is they answered so well all of the common complaints about taxis. So finding where your ideal customer might congregate and listening to that conversation or dialogue online can really help you establish who your ideal customers are and what their needs are. A third spot you might check is the emails that are coming to your business. What questions or concerns or problems are you dealing with in those emails? Because if you're seeing 5 or 6 help emails a week on the same topic, chances are there's hundreds more of your customers who might be struggling with that, but just haven't got up the courage or time to ask you the question yet. So looking at your own customer service emails or help desk can really help you get a feel for where problems might be. Fourth thing you can do is you can survey people. You can survey your own customers. You can survey the wider community. You can do this in a range of ways, but sites like SurveyMonkey offer great services that you can use to survey your clients. We've used them many times. They're great, and there's dozens of others just like them. So you can use platforms like this. You can run competitions to encourage people to participate. There's lots of ways you can get people involved and share information or useful information with you. 5, you can run a competition. Competitions often get massive input or massive entrance. I recently ran a number of competitions on my social media platform. I was very surprised to see the sheer volume of people that responded, and in a relatively quick period of time. It allowed me to reach a whole stack of people that I'd never been able to engage with before. Competitions don't have to have expensive prizes, but you can really get down into the nitty-gritty of you can really get down into sorry, lost my train of thought for one moment there. You can get down and understand what it is people want. If you offer one particular prize and people don't respond very well to that competition, you know it's not of interest to your customers. Okay, if you offer something else and you get masses of social media interaction and it's getting organically shared, you know that that second competition is of far more value to your ideal customer. Okay, so you can use competitions as a way to identify people, spread your reach, and gain more information and insight into what people want. Reviews. Reviews. They can be the best and the worst thing in the world. Often I know it can be disheartening to look at your reviews because there are some wonderful trolls online. I think my favourite review in recent time is the review of Lord of the Rings that called it a complete knockoff of Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings obviously having been written many decades before Harry Potter, but it was just a splendid example of just how troll and negative some of those reviews can be, but they're also an invaluable source of insight into what your customers need and want. And we're doing a video today where we're going to take you through some different options for reviews. So, for example, in our book business, obviously the key place we might start for reviews is our sales platform. In this instance, that's Amazon, and you can see that this book, which is one of our books, has 123 reviews on it, which is great. We can scroll down, we can gain a whole lot more insight to that. We can see what the spread is. We might have 4.4 out of 5 as our star rating, but we can see that 6% of people really didn't like the book. And then we can see that, between these two figures, we can see that 86% of people that have bought and read the book quite enjoyed it, or at least 86% of the people who've bothered to leave a review really enjoyed it. But more than just looking at the positives, we can use this to look at the negatives. And there's always negatives, okay? In any book, in any system, there'll always be people that hate you. And you can find out as you read your negative reviews what's going wrong. And you will see here in these reviews that most of the negative reviews are based on one mistake I made really early in this business, which is I put a political comment in there, not because it was my political viewpoint, but because I thought it placed the story well in the time in which it was written. And so, as you can see, a lot of people took that as a negative. 1, 2, at least three of the 1-star of the 6 1-star review, or at least 3 of the 7. So at least almost half of them are based on that one mistake. And you might think, why do we care? What's the point? Well, if 3% of the people who read the book got upset at one line in the story, we just take that line out. It wasn't crucial to the underlying book. I was just using it to place the setting, New York City 2017, which I could do with other ways. So I simply took that out. So now, as people are reading the book, at least 3% of people who read it won't be offended, right? And we're not trying to please everyone, but if I can do something simple that improves the book by 3%, and let's face it, there's probably more people who got annoyed at that and simply didn't bother to leave a review, but just never picked up the next product or the next book, we know we can improve the business by culling that out of it. Okay, we're not trying to appeal to everybody, but we are trying to remove the obstacles that are preventing people from doing business with us. Okay, so reviews are an awesome source of that, and there's dozens of places. We can use our Google My Business listing. Now, we used this recently for one of our coaching clients to show them that the most common complaint they faced in their industry had nothing to do with how they do their core work. It had everything to do with how their drivers interacted and participated on the road. So they had a hugely negative profile, and it had largely nothing to do with how good they were at their job, had everything to do with how their drivers operated vehicles around other customers on the road. So understanding your reviews can show you all sorts of interesting things on our business. You'll find genre-specific or industry-specific review sites, and there's well beyond these sorts of things. Obviously, as an author, there's lots of author-related sites, but if you're in another industry, there's stacks of other sites. Like, for example, if we're a restaurant, there's dozens of food reviewing sites, common directory listings. So Urban Spoon, you've got TripAdvisor, Zomato. You have at least 3 different avenues where people might be leaving reviews for you, and you can use these to make sure you're meeting the need. Okay, if you have a hugely negative rating on one of those sites and you're in the restaurant business, you are going to struggle to get customers, okay, because people check reviews before they visit you. So you can see that reviews can help us refine our product. They can help tell us what our customer needs. When we were looking at the reviews, we didn't look at many of the positive ones, but at the other end of the spectrum, we could use these positive reviews to see what we did really well, and we can use that in our marketing. So we could look at all these points that are common points and start to develop that and put it into our marketing so that people that like these same things know that our books are full of them. Okay, so we can use it for positives, we can use it for negatives, but really helps us understand what our ideal customers, who they are and what they're looking for. The last point for today, point number 7, we're going to take a look at social media analytics, okay? And so there's all sorts of useful social media analytics. You can dive into these and look in great detail, but for today I'm just going to show you some obvious things that we should be aware of. One, it's our overview. This tells us how we're performing recently, but the thing we're going to look at most detail today is our demographics, okay? So my biggest following on social media is obviously on Facebook, and this shows us all sorts of interesting things, okay? So first off, it shows us that 2/3 of my fans are women, and that's important because if I know that 2/3 of my fans are women and all of my main characters are men, that's probably not going to fare as well with my audience. That'll be harder for them to resonate with, unless it's a romance novel, which isn't what I write. I write action adventure. So naturally, 2/3 women, I need to have more female main characters, which is certainly what I've done in recent years, is produce a lot more books with female main characters. And as you can see, over time this changed. Once upon a time it was 45% men, 55% women. And then over time it's just become further and further apart, far more women than men in a 2-to-1 ratio. We can also see that not many young readers are reading my stuff at this point. In fact, most of my readers fall between 35 and 64. Male and female is my main target audience, okay? So filling up my books with slang and euphemisms that only make sense to 18 to 24-year-olds, completely pointless. Likewise, up to my age, which I'm 33 at the moment, using things that are common to my generation aren't necessarily the most identifiable and relatable to my fans, who are largely older than me. Okay, so it's important to know. I can also see the spread by country. I know that the majority of my readers or fans are in the US. So even though I speak British English, I write British English, particularly, even though I speak British English, and even though that's my default language, I spell things that way, when I write my novels, and often when I write emails and other things, I will write in American English simply because the majority of my readers are in that country and speak that language, okay? I get less complaints about typos in my books when I write in American English, so I want to be the most value to my largest group of customers. Likewise, I can see some in the UK, some in Australia, some in Canada, and then a handful sprinkled in other places. We can then see that the largest city by fans is Brisbane, which isn't unusual because those will be people that know me, and then everyone else is spread in a fairly wide demographic reach. As you can see, vast majority of my fans speak English with very little following outside that. So I have all sorts of useful information on these people now, and that helps us know how to target, what products to produce, and it can really become an instrumental part of our business planning. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I hope that gives you a lot of questions you can ask yourself in your business that will guide your decision making. In future episodes, we're going to take a look at how we use this information to build better products, how we use it to refine our marketing, but this is one of the key building blocks, folks. If we don't know who we serve, how can we expect to serve them? Okay, so all the show notes are down below. Feel free to review those questions, make use of them in our business. I'm Sam, this is From Startup to Six Figures, and I'll see you in our next episode.
Get show notes, the podcast archive, and free resources to boost your business at masteryourbusiness.com.au or join our Facebook group at mybcommunity.com. Join us next week for more coaching and inspiration on how you can grow your business from startup to six figures and beyond.